to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Can I tell you something? And I want you to tell me if this is maybe like negligence on our side or an endearing example of how we go fast and loose on this show.
Yeah.
When I open up the project file that we always record in, there was already one I'd obviously saved accidentally with an episode in it. So I cleared the episode out. Ready to go. And then as we hit record, I noticed that we're starting on the timeline at 43 minutes into the project file. Oh. Which means normally I monitor it for time. Which now means why I'm like, oh, now I'm going to have to do quick baths every time I look at it.
Oh, like, no, that's annoying.
All right, we're at 62 minutes, but remember, we started at 43. Okay, so yeah.
Well, I guess we could go on for forever.
It sounds like this
because maths is not our strong suit.
Or this could be the shortest episode yet. Because we're like, that's about 45.
We're so close to 60 minutes already. Yeah. Well, Cambo, I'm definitely gonna not be able to do the maths this episode because I just had a recent thought, and it's been taking up a lot of my headspace.
Okay.
So
well,
I'm going to share it with you.
It's a safe space.
It's something that's made me kind of, I don't know, feel depressed maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Consider this.
Yep.
Let's say one day you just have the ability to fly.
Yep.
You can just fly. You just thought about it, you can fly.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one in the world that can do so.
Yep.
How much do you think, like, how much do you think you'd have to convince yourself that you haven't suffered some sort of brain trauma or that you're in a coma or something and it's all made up?
Well,
like, I loved the idea that I might get some sort of superpower one day, and I've only just thought about the fact that if it happens and I'm the only one, then I'm going to think I'm insane. And I probably won't, like if it's flight, I probably won't ever fly because I'm like, well, I know this is fake.
Yeah.
I know I can't obviously do this. I'm just an insane person. And the most rational thing to do to snap myself out of it is to never fly again.
Well,
that's my dilemma.
My knowledge of this is based on the forgotten John Travolta movie from the 90s called Phenomenon.
Okay.
In which he sees a flash of light in the sky one night, and then suddenly he's got these weird powers. They're almost like telekinesis, almost that he's developed. He can move things with his mind, and I think maybe he can have some like vague mind reading. And he's like an average Joe from rural America. He's like, "What's happening?" But the twist in that movie is that it turns out to be a massive brain tumor.
Yeah,
and he dies in the end. So that would be...
Does he still have the powers, or is it just that he thinks that he has powers?
No, I think he did have the powers.
He has the powers.
But they were like the consequence of those powers that gave him a brain tumor, which for me, if I started to develop powers, I'd say to everyone, I think this is a phenomenon situation. And they'd say, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Because no one thinks about the movie Phenomenon.
No one thinks about that movie. But I think that's where that saying comes from. With great power comes great brain trauma. So that's where I remember that one from.
The great responsibility that he talks about is going to your chemotherapy treatments to try and reduce the amount of cancer.
That's important. That's important. Anyway, so that's a bit of a downer. Think about that. You know what? There needs to be actually thinking about the idea of like, a flash of light and then something happens. Really, there needs to be an inciting incident. Like if I get covered in toxic waste and then I can fly, then I'm like, well, that's fine.
Yeah, but what does the toxic waste do to you?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's probably
that
what
toxic
puts me in the coma / gives me these hallucinations.
I think comic books have disillusion people with how dangerous toxic waste is.
Yeah. Because don't get me wrong, I'm well aware that like 99% of the time that person dies a horrible death.
Yeah,
but I could be the 1%.
It's like in the Marvel logic, the Chernobyl event would have just been a mass superhero origin.
Yeah.
But in reality, people died slow, painful deaths of radiation poisoning.
Has nobody done that? I feel like that's a comic book. Or is it too soon? How long until we can make a comic book about superheroes that come out of Chernobyl?
If no one has done it,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. And by let's do it, we mean, of course, get one of the listeners to do it and give us all the credit. Thank you very much.
Tick. Done.
Done. All right, Ken, but let's get into it. This first Reddit on Reddit was by Tadpole Hivemind. And it was in the subreddit, Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to do housework while my boyfriend goes to work, even though I don't have a job?
Okay.
I, 19 female,
Yep.
have been dating my boyfriend, 25 male, for 5 months now, and he's amazing. However, one disagreement we often have is over housework. My boyfriend thinks that I should do housework, seeing as though he works 48 hours a week and I'm not in employment.
Okay.
It's not looking good.
Yep. Can I just say the 19 part of this is saying a lot for me.
Yeah.
But I'll let it finish and then I'll give my thoughts.
I've always refused. We don't live together. We live in separate houses.
Okay.
And pay separate rent.
Okay.
I afford the rent through my university student loan, as well as tutoring and babysitting part-time.
Yep.
So in my opinion, I have no reason to clean his house when I have my own that I pay for.
Okay, twist. Okay.
My boyfriend thinks it's unfair that I don't really work, yet have enough money to rent. In his eyes, I should do household chores for him because he is the breadwinner. The thing is, I don't see him as a breadwinner. He doesn't pay for my rent. I do. We aren't married, and I'm still in education. I can't tell if I'm being unreasonable. I cook for him and occasionally help with chores, but I refuse to be a full-time maid for him. Then again, he works so hard, whereas I only work a few hours a week.
Nelson, what a twist.
What a twist.
And I'll just finish by saying, you go, girl. Yeah,
absolutely. Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she's clearly studying.
Yeah.
If that is how she's paying her rent through. Okay. Well, okay. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
When I said earlier that the 19 says a lot to me, I was thinking about myself at 19.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, the last thing I'd ever want to do is housework.
Yeah.
Now, especially since I own a house and I'm in my 30s, I mean, you still don't like doing housework.
Yeah.
But you feel so wasteful and irresponsible if you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look, a peek behind the curtain. This episode is a few hours later than it normally is because we're recording the day it releases, which we rarely do. Because, Nelson, what did I move it on Sunday for? Housework.
Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes.
Yes. I had an opportunity to have an electrician come over and wire some stuff. And I was like, Nelson, think of my responsibility as an adult.
Ugh, being an adult sucks.
Yeah. That being said.
Yeah.
No, the guy's the arsehole.
He is absolutely the asshole. But here's what I'm thinking. Game the system, Cambo. Okay? You can, I think, say yes, I'll start cleaning for you. But then obviously that means you've got to pay my rent.
Yeah.
Because you said you're the breadwinner. I say you flip it again. You do the double flip, right? Because then he can't deny this logic, really. And then when he's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll pay your rent. Then you spend the money on a maid that will clean his house because that's not going to be as much as your rent every week. I think you just need to game the system a little bit.
Like, say a maid once a week is $150. You just say to him, it needs to at least be $200.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're still up while also outsourcing at the full rate of that maid.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I think, like, because at this point, that's not really a nice, like, if fundamentally, that's a backwards thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, as much as somebody across the other side of the world, on the other side of the internet, should give advice to somebody else about their relationship. Like, get rid of that. Get rid of that son of a bitch. Because that's a mentality that, like, if he thinks that's right now, I hate to think what that would mean later on if you do live together. Because and I imagine if you ended up earning more money than that guy, the tables would not be flipped. No way.
Hate that.
No way in the world. So I think you need to try and game the system early on now. Rake in as much money as you can from the breadwinner, and then dump him.
Isn't it? I find it endlessly fascinating that some relationships have this element of competition. I know a guy, and I don't think he would necessarily admit it, but he was clearly feeling competitive because his partner earned the same amount as him.
Okay.
Not even more, just the same amount. But he wasn't earning more. Which is like, and maybe it says a lot because Stacey earns more money than me, that I am fine with it. Yeah. But isn't that crazy to be like, oh, God damn it, I wish I was like, instead of being happy for your partner earning as good, if not better than you, you're annoyed at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty ridiculous. It can be. I've just realized that you've got like kind of the full package there because Stacey earns more money than you, but then also does the cooking. This is like you have to do a bit of cleaning, and may I suggest a maid, and then spend just like a little bit of your money on that, or from the joint bank account would be even better.
It does get really tiring trying to work out how I will prove my value to the relationship when it's not like always apparent what that is.
Yeah. You're like, I've got the podcast.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. You got to make up for that actually as well, really. That's in the negative column.
Honestly.
You know what? If you ever see Stacey making a pros and cons list, I think you should shut that down.
I'll be but before I'd need to have a little peek at what the pros are.
Yeah.
Because I think my pros, honestly, are people I know. I said we had an electrician come around yesterday. That was my brother.
Yeah.
He's an electrician. He's a really good electrician.
Yeah, it's good.
And my dad, he's a really good cabinet maker. He made our kitchen.
But they've done the work, Cambo.
I know. This is the thing.
You should have left a few things lingering.
No, Nelson, our laundry's not done yet.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And you know what, Nelson? It will never be done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or just get like the stuff that's an inconvenience for you done, but then get him to like disconnect a light that like you don't really care about. And you're like, well, guess we need him back for that one. Boy. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's still kind of a funny pro, isn't it? Because she's like, well, I just need to then make my own connections with an electrician and cabinet maker. Yeah. Like you still technically don't bring anything yourself.
And annoyingly, her dad is very handy. So that's annoying, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's no good.
Why couldn't he be an accountant or something?
Yeah.
Something less threatening to me.
Yeah. Also, like if if I had to give you a pro, like you're good with like maybe some like good photography or something. You did little videos and stuff. But I would say Stacey's like not super into that stuff. She said to me, we were talking about you getting wedding photos.
Yeah. And
she was like, I don't really care. I'm not going to look at them anyway. I was like, oh, okay.
That is news to me because she picked our photographer, Nelson.
Yeah. She got the most dirt cheap one. And he's like, I'll barely be there. And she's Nelson, like, perfect.
I tell you this. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
Airtasker would have been the place to go for that.
Yeah.
Rather than the several thousands that we have to pay for the one that we have. Yeah, I think though, and this goes both ways, is that sometimes she'll make a joke or I'll make a joke that the other one will genuinely laugh at and then go, geez, there's not many people I could have made that specific joke to.
Yeah.
That would have laughed at that. So
there you go, Camby. That's your positive. That's in the pros column.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like, yeah.
How many negatives do you reckon that pro is worth?
Well, I remember one time, for example, we were talking about some kind of TV show, and I think she said, how many episodes did that get? And I looked up and said, it's got 99. She went, nah, that's a shame. And we both laughed because that's a joke, Nelson, about TV syndication rights.
Yes, okay.
That starts syndicating at 100 episodes.
Okay, yeah.
Now that's
hilarious.
a pretty niche
hilarious.
joke.
There are so many people out there laughing.
I bet.
Yes. Anywho, my point is, I think that you're a piece of trash, and God knows why anybody would date you, let alone marry you. Anyway, let's move on to Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by Throwaway Theist.
Oh, it's going to be good then. When they've made a throwaway account, it's always going to be good.
Yeah, it's not really irrelevant.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't really know. They throwaway. I don't know. They've clearly they've got like 24,000 comment count.
Okay, they've done this terribly.
They haven't worked out they need to stop using the throwaway account. What is something that has become trendy to hate but isn't really that bad?
I was talking about this just the other week. The movie Titanic.
Oh, is it trendy to hate?
Film people have decided that they hate Titanic.
Oh, for what reasons?
I don't. It's quite saccharine and it's quite whatever, but it's also just because it was so huge for so long until I would put Avatar up there as well. Actually, people really love to hate Avatar now. I mean, I'm talking about film people.
Yeah.
By it being the highest and second highest grossing film of all time, clearly general people really like it.
Yeah.
But I rewatched Titanic maybe 6 months ago, and it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's really
good.
Yeah, it's really good. Except, do you know what somebody pointed out to me once that I can't unsee, and it ruins the entire movie for me?
What's that?
Which is when you can see the cameraman in the reflection of the doors when he goes into the dining room. Ugh, so annoying. Just I bet you I've ruined it. For anybody who's listening now that didn't know this, I've ruined the Titanic for you because as soon as that scene comes on, you cannot unsee it.
I wonder if that's been changed now because I know, for instance, James Cameron has changed things in that movie. For instance, Neil deGrasse Tyson once pointed out that the constellation in the sky was wrong for the time of year that it was, and he changed it. He went back and he changed the constellation in the sky to be accurate.
Yeah, that's
so I wonder if now, because it'd be a pretty easy thing to fix these days. You could paint.
Do you reckon? I actually reckon it would be really hard to replace a reflection because you can see through the window as well, right?
I guarantee you, Nelson, it would be. I mean, I say this as someone that doesn't 3D model.
Yeah,
but you could camera track and 3D model and just replace it.
Right.
In '97, it would have been a huge job.
Yeah.
I would say anyone with a VFX YouTube channel on YouTube could probably do a decent job, let alone like a VFX house.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, I've ruined it for everybody.
Yeah. Do you have one?
I don't think so. There is something that's like really broad that I think is about hating video game companies that
EA, for example,
try to make money, which I think is really funny because like they've always tried to make money, and really what happens is normally they'll I don't know, there's a few examples. One will be like they've just developed a bad game, but people will kind of say, oh, they're money hungry, blah, 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 and that's why. But it's like, no, they've just kind of created a bad game, and you're hating on the wrong thing. Or, yeah, something like EA where they can definitely make a good game, but because they did do kind of a crappy monetization model a while ago, then people don't let them live it down. And if there's something remotely bad with their games, then people will hate on that.
Yeah.
But also even just like I mean, I know what happens with other games, but Dota, the game that I really love, it's become super trendy on the subreddit to just crack the shits at every new like thing that they release. Like all the when they release something, the top comments will be about how bad certain aspects are to it.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because it's always like improvements, and very, very rarely is it something that's fundamentally bad. It might be like you dislike. So, for example, they made the map bigger recently, which is a really big change, and people just started hating on it because they weren't used to it. Like, they were like, oh, I'm used to this other way. I've been used to this other way for so long, and now it's changed, and I hate that. And so they just hate it. And I just find that so strange. But yeah, even with other games or even like maybe TV shows or something, sometimes people just hate on things that
it
different.
Reminds me of again, this is more in the film world and my world, but there's a saying that no one hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So the casual person will come and they go, yeah, cool, Star Wars. I love Star Wars. But a Star Wars fan's like, no, this is trash, actually.
Yeah.
There's actually been no good Star Wars movie since the original Star Wars movie, and even that's shit.
Yeah, I'm adamant that the Star Wars fans, there's no such thing, really, because they all hate the movie.
Yeah,
all of the movies.
And the biggest Star Wars fans are very, very casual movie watchers. And are like, they're all good. I don't know.
Exactly. That's like the biggest fan.
Yeah.
I actually have that opinion of like movie critics in general, or critics of anything. I think I might have brought this up before, whereas the critics of stuff actually hate the thing more than somebody that just casually enjoys it.
Yeah.
Because they look to find those like specific nuances and things that might be wrong with a movie, the way that it's directed or something, whereas somebody else is just like, yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I had a good time. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I always find that whenever I find something, and then if I'm interested in it, I'll go to the subreddit and to find out what kind of subreddit it is, because there's two types. For instance, I run a Plex server for my media, and I was getting quite into it, and I thought maybe I'll join the subreddit. They might have good advice and stuff like that. And it is what you were talking about. Every time they release a feature or something, everyone's like, this Plex sucks now. I hate it. It's trash now.
Yeah. So ridiculous.
The other one was, there's a company I like called Thursday Boot Company. They make shoes.
Mm-hmm. And
that's a really wholesome one. And people just being like, I got new boots. What do people think? And everyone's like, I love them. They're great.
Yeah.
Good boots, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, positive. This is a positive community. I like this one.
Give that company 5 years and then watch people just hate on it because
sure,
it got too big. It became a conglomerate in some way, and then it became trendy to hate. I thought that I would actually just quickly go through some of these comments to see if we either hate on them or don't hate on them or something like that. Okay. This one is by Can't Escape My Mind. The word moist. Isn't there something that's like that's scientific about that being a word?
Why people don't like it?
Why people don't like it?
Is it like an audible coriander, where some people are just predisposed to not enjoying it?
Yeah, something like that.
It sounds like soap to them.
Yeah, it sounds like soap.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with that word.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I sort of get it, but I sort of don't. I wouldn't say there's like a lot of people that are like, that it's so trendy to hate, you know? Like if it gets brought up in conversation. I feel like for something to be trendy to hate is like when it gets brought up in a group conversation, somebody has to say that they hate it. I feel like that doesn't happen so much with
I would say the most like reoccurring version of this is you might say, oh yeah, I had this cake, it was beautiful, so moist, and someone will go, don't say moist. That's about it. That's about as far as it normally gets.
Yeah, here's another one. This is by Leopard Patterned Bra. It's okay to like pop music. As someone who's mostly into heavy metal and industrial metal, I enjoy pop music a lot. I think that's true, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even I don't listen to pop music in my day to day, but I work in the building of a radio station, so I hear it all day.
Yeah.
And you see how many people love it. Like,
yeah,
it's Taylor Swift, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Give it a year. everyone will start being like, oh, I'm so sick of this Taylor Swift.
I mean, don't people do that already? I feel like that's
I'm sure they do. Again, I work in the building of a radio station. They all love her.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because I think it's just like people hate success.
Yeah.
I think is what it is. And pop music is literally because it's popular.
Yeah.
And I think people are like, I hate that so many people love this. And that's fundamental to a lot of these like trendy things to hate. Like Titanic, so many people love it. I hate it because so many people love it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, you couldn't quiz that person on why it's a bad movie or even just thing or whatever, but it's just because so many people like it. This is this one I think, Amber, we've joked about before. This is by Blue Hill. Your partner. I do not get all the jokes about the ball and chain or how much you hate your spouse. You married them.
Yes. Yeah, we have joked about this. I'm sure on this podcast, but we once had to give a speech at our friend's Bucks night, and it was themed after a funeral, which we were like, interesting. And I think we sang a song called "Isn't It Funny When You Hate Your Wife."
Yeah.
All about how it's so weird that people think it's funny.
Yeah.
That you hate the person.
His life's going to be over. It's terrible. Now he's going to lose all his money. He won't have any time to himself. Like all this stuff. Coincidentally, that's exactly what happened to him.
Yeah.
But that was just by chance, guys. That wasn't
he does,
guaranteed.
As it turns out, Hades' wife.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was like, that's the not the norm.
Yeah. We shouldn't have sung that song.
Because he said to us that's the first time he realized that he really did hate his wife.
Yeah.
Jilted her at the altar, if you could believe it.
Yeah.
Didn't we look bad? Because we sung it at the altar to explain.
Yeah. I'm going to read one more. This is by Optimal Ad 8563. When someone is filming / taking a picture and you accidentally walk in front of it, people act as if it's the end of the world and you can't simply re-record or record in a less public place. Can I just say, I don't think I've ever had somebody that's been like angry at me for accidentally walking in front of a photo or something. So what I imagine has happened is this asshole has like very purposely walked in front of somebody and then made a big deal about how, you're taking a photo or filming publicly or something like that. I bet you.
I would say all of my experience are either you go to walk and see someone's filming and you go, oh, and you stop. And then normally they go, that's okay. Like,
yeah.
Or they go, oh, thank you. Click. Okay, there you go. Like,
yeah.
That's my general. You're right. Clearly they've been like, they're filming, but okay, I got to get through here and just walk through. And then they've been like, oh, whoops. And they'll be like, what? What'd you say?
Yeah. I'll fight you. Okay, anyway, let's move on, Camo, to Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This Today I Learned is by Mufasil. Today I learned horses can grow mustaches.
Yeah, I saw the photo that came with this.
Why are we not breeding these? Why are we not breeding mustached horses? We could very easily do this.
Okay. First of all, polo and equestrian often seen as very hoity-toity upper class sport.
Oh my God.
But now I'm looking at it thinking, well, he doesn't even have a mustache.
Doesn't even have a mustache.
The hoitiest of all facial hair.
It's so, you could very easily wax that up. Like, especially in the, the like equestrian, that when they're doing the little like cantering, making themselves look really like upper class and stuff. Why has not any horse that doesn't have a mustache should be like disqualified from any of those events?
Should we let's get classist here.
Yeah.
Thoroughbreds are the premium horses, right? Like they're the ones you really want. Let's make thoroughbreds have mustaches so you can tell like,
that's a thoroughbred. That's
a thoroughbred horse right there.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Although I don't really actually, if you're breeding thoroughbreds, I think you couldn't have mustached horses.
Okay, so
like if you're trying to breed them in, like have more mustached horses.
Yeah,
I think probably more often than not, thoroughbreds don't have the.
Okay,
I don't
so
know. I don't know how the genetics works exactly.
No. That's fine. We'll still get classes, Nelson.
Yeah.
We'll get the horses to grow handlebar mustaches.
Yeah.
And deem them as lower class.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah.
It's just a good old fashioned horse fact for the show.
Just a horse fact.
Yeah.
Occasionally we do horse facts.
The only other horse fact I know is horses can't vomit. And I always have thought, how did that get discovered? Like, they're like, it'd be funny if we feed him this thing. Yeah. Okay, now make him vomit it up. Yeah. Seriously, make the horse vomit it up. Yeah. It's not vomiting. Make the horse vomit it up.
Oh, we've killed the horse. We've killed the prize-worthy horse. And God, his mustache was so good.
I mean, Farlap was poisoned, the famous racehorse here in Australia. At least that's what they suspect. But maybe it was a prank gone wrong.
It was just a prank gone wrong.
All right, Farlap. Obviously, throw it up because you make us a lot of money. Throw it up now. Farlap, throw it up now.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no. Yeah, I'm not convinced. Okay? If somebody tells me that fact, I'm not convinced.
The horses can't vomit.
I think if you've got a throat, you can throw up. Because
I don't know enough about the makeup of horses to really defend the fact.
I bet you it's just that they haven't ever eaten enough to feel so sick that they want to throw up. I think that was the test.
I've heard
they're so muscular, the food gets, the energy is processed instantly.
I've also heard that they just don't want to get any in their mustache.
Yeah, that's true. You can't hold that back. It's hard to hold back a mustache when you're vomiting. Anywho, I will look down on any horse that I see now that doesn't have a mustache.
Or it does, depending on what the breed is.
Depending.
We will work out whether that's a high class or a low class horse thing and get back to you.
Yeah.
About whether to look up or down at that horse.
I mean, I think what we could do is, even if it's not a thoroughbred and most non-thoroughbreds have mustaches, then we just start, because really you talk about thoroughbreds and it's like probably just an opinion thing. I'm sure that you could get just as fast horses that aren't thoroughbreds, potentially. I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
But so then we start frowning on, making people think poorly of their thoroughbred that is mustacheless.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Let's change it. Like Rolex. Rolex used to be the everyday watch for the average man, and now it's a luxury item.
Yeah.
We'll take the non-thoroughbred horses and make them luxury.
By the way, dear listener, you should just Google horse mustaches.
They're very good.
I've been looking at a few while we've been talking, and some of them are very good. All right, Campbell, let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by Gotta Improve at Math. That's funny. Trying to grab a grenade to throw it back is the ultimate double or nothing.
Yeah, okay. There's a couple of tropes I love in movies.
Yeah,
and grabbing a grenade and throwing it back is one of them.
Yeah.
Every time it happens in an action movie, I'm always like, "That's so cool."
Yeah. It is cool. I feel like I've seen one where they also slingshot it back. I can't remember what that's in, but that was even cooler.
They put it into a slingshot and.
Yeah. In fact, I want to say it was almost caught in the slingshot. Like they were prepared for grenades.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
To be lobbed into them. Yeah. There is also, though, in those movies, it's like if the good guy throws a grenade, they throw it and it explodes immediately. But if the bad guy throws it, that's got a 60-second detonation timer that hero can just sort of wander up and throw it anytime.
Yeah, I think it's in the TV show Band of Brothers. But you see them, they flick it and they go 1, 2, 3. and then they throw it, knowing that when it lands, there will be no time to throw it back.
Cambo, you act like I haven't played Call of Duty.
Oh, you do the same thing, do you?
Yeah, because you can. There is a prompt that if you're close enough to a grenade, you can throw it back. But that's why you have to cook it first. You cook the grenade first. So, also in Worms, I think that you had to be.
Worms walked so Call of Duty could run.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's pretty good. I would say, in the same vein in movies, a double or nothing kind of move is when somebody throws down their gun and then they start flipping their knife back and forth.
Yeah, because especially if they both have guns. They're like, I'm going to assume you will do this too.
Yeah.
Chuck it to the side.
Yeah.
And when realistically, if that otherwise was me, you're like, well, bang.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you idiot. I would definitely, there should be some soldier training. I imagine there is, actually, where they have to fake throwing away their gun in a duel scenario.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, and they'll get it wrong. And the instructor's like, no, it's all in the eyes. They've got to believe you. You got to believe that you're going to throw this away.
The only way I'd ever do it if I had John McClane strapped a gun to the back of my neck.
Yeah.
So I could reach over and pull it out. That's the only time I would actually throw away a gun in any kind of mono and mono. I don't care how much me and this villain have had a mono situation that needs to be belted out. I'm going to shoot him in the head.
I think that's actually what they do to anybody that fails that class. Like, look, you're not good enough at pulling this off. Like, you're really going to throw your gun away, so we will just tape a handgun to your back between your shoulder blades. It is not comfortable, but it might save your life at a time where you do need
to
throw away your gun.
Now, if I ever get into that situation and the other person throws their gun away, I'd be like, I know you're doing it, John McClane.
Yeah.
You can't fall. Bang. You can't fool
me. Yeah, that's true. The trick is also they start laughing. That's a dead giveaway.
That's a dead. They're John McClaning all over the place.
Yeah. You know what the trick is? You double strap handguns to your back because first you've both thrown away your weapon.
Yeah. And then you go, I'm going to D John McClane.
And then you quickly pull out, but then you realize, we've got another Mexican standoff sort of thing again. So
you
I'll throw this one away. You give them the eyes.
And then you start laughing again.
But then if they start laughing, you're in trouble. You're in trouble again. Oh, boy. That's why they come up with such creative holsters for guns everywhere. In your ankle, up your butt.
Yeah.
There's guns everywhere. All right, Camber, let's get on into podnapping. Oh my God, I'm being podnapped!
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves. This week, thank the lucky stars. Hallie wrote in and gave me a podnapping. She said, "Dear Nelson, this is for you. I hate Cambo. I did a pros and cons list, and there was only one pro.
And it was just people in you.
And it was just people in you. And I don't need any electrical work done." That's what it said.
That's what you think, Hallie, but you wait.
Oh, just you wait. She said, "I have made a podnapping for whoever opens this. It's nothing fancy."
But that thing you said before about how she said it was just for you.
Yeah, this is... she said, "Don't read that other bit out loud. Read this bit out loud."
Yeah, okay, yeah, gotcha.
But I forgot, so I've just read it all. It's nothing fancy, and I would probably play towards Cambo's strengths a bit more, but here we go. Thank God, because if this was the other way around, I would not get it. This is perhaps the best named podnapping ever, so I'm going to give Hallie some credit for that. I'm calling it IMDbest.
That's good.
Get it?
That's very good. That's very good.
It's basically a quiz of who has the most credits on IMDb. This includes everything. Acting,
okay.
directing, producing, writing, interviews, soundtrack. Basically anything listed because I didn't know where to draw the line. I'm 100% positive this isn't the way you typically add up people's credits, but hey, it's a free Podnapping. You get what you pay for. And the paying is good or something. What I mean is I will take a free Podnapping every single time. Okay, so intro round. There's a total of a few, but the intro round has 4. Okay. Also, there isn't necessarily any explanation to say what credits you might have not thought. So anyway, because there would be so many. Anyway, okay. Intro round. Tom Holland versus Zendaya. Is Zendaya a mono something? Can't remember what the word is. She only has one name. Does she have a last name?
I'm sure she does. Professionally, she's just Zendaya. Like Cher, like Madonna.
Yeah. There's actually a term for people that only have one.
I think it's called a one-name-o.
The old one-name-o. Yes.
This is a tough one. Zendaya acts less, but I would say maybe appears more as Zendaya.
Yep. Right.
And she does music, so she could potentially have music credits.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, and she had a Disney career. I'll say Zendaya.
Zendaya, correct. 234 versus Tom Holland's 132.
Yeah. I reckon a lot of them are through she also, I think, produces stuff. So producing music, etc. I can imagine having more.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Music, I feel like if you're in that, then you probably.
Yeah. Not so much lately, but in her Disney days, I'm sure it got featured in a bunch of just Disney stuff.
Yeah. Right. Can I tell you this random fact I had today? Oh, it's so irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Go nuts. This show's trash.
Yeah. Okay. I heard that. So one of the games that I love, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
They're really story based. So obviously music's really important to them. And somebody recommended to Hideo Kojima, the game director, a band. And he's like, I reckon it was just for the credits. So it was just they needed one song. They recommended a band to them. And he Googled it, found one song, and he was like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty good. This will do for the credits. Went through the whole process of getting them on board and yada, yada. And then the game was released, and then it turns out that person was like, oh, no. You typed the name of the band wrong in Google. It was a completely different band that I suggested to you. So just this random kind of no-name band ended up getting some good royalty rights because he Googled wrong. And
yeah, no, that's the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're the New Zealand funk cover band.
Yeah. Anywho, see how relevant was that to what we're talking about? Number 2 intro round. John Krasinski versus Ryan Reynolds.
So the question is, does every episode count?
Ooh.
Or is The Office counted as one acting credit?
Well,
that
Zendaya being in, has Tom Holland been in a TV series?
Like a limited series he has.
Right. Because Zendaya has been in Euphoria. Was that two seasons of that?
Yeah, 2 seasons of that.
And she had quite a bit more, but then I don't know.
Here's the other thing. Krasinski in The Office, over 100 episodes. Ryan Reynolds was in 2 Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place for an undetermined number of episodes in the 90s. So that could also help.
I forgot about that.
Ryan produces a lot.
Yeah.
Assuming The Office is one credit, I'll say Ryan.
John Krasinski, 214 versus Ryan Reynolds, 375.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds ahead.
I wonder if... Yeah, okay. That doesn't help me know whether or not TV shows
it doesn't really. Okay. Bruce Lee versus Scarlett Johansson.
Well, Scarlett Johansson is older than Bruce Lee and started younger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, because Bruce Lee died in his 30s. and probably I don't probably started about 16, but Scarlett was like a child actress.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
That being said, the Chinese film industry did pump him out.
Yeah, he's probably in like 20 in 1 year or something.
Yeah. I'll say Scarlett Johansson just on my logic.
Okay. Your logic is pretty good. Bruce Lee, 255. Scarlett Johansson, 304.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway versus Jeff Probst.
Oh, Jeff Probst. Now, if every episode does count, he's the host of Survivor, for those that don't know. There'd be hundreds of episodes of Survivor.
Also, can we just say right now that somebody forgot a vowel in his last name, and then he's just had to spell it that way for his whole life? Like on the birth certificate, it was spelled wrong. Probst.
I mean,
it's just that's not.
I mean, without throwing too many stones, this will probably come back to bite me in a day or two, Nelson.
Yeah.
But look at who I'm marrying.
Oh my god.
Her last name is misspelled. There's too many consonants in it.
No, there's like an appropriate amount of vowels.
Well, I'll tell you that whenever you spell it out for someone, you say K, they go K, and you go W.
Yeah,
and they always stop.
Wait a second.
They always stop and look at you.
Did you start with a K? Yes, I did.
They always stop and you go, no, W. You're like, okay. And then from there, it makes sense. It's just those two letters next to each other.
Actually, I gave you crap for saying that, but Stacey is saved in my phone as Stacey WOFKLDHBFJJJDHHDJ, because I started and I was like, I don't know where this is going, so I just kept driving random letters. It's actually not that bad when you get to it.
I'm going to test the theory that this is based on the amount of episodes.
Yeah.
And I will say Jeff Probst.
Okay. Anne Hathaway, 326.
Yeah.
Jeff Probst, 145.
Okay. This informs a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely more than 145 episodes of Survivor. There's like 20 seasons of that.
Yeah, it's like 1 billion, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Well, that was the intro round. So now you've got your bearings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jim Carrey versus Jerry Springer. Now, we said episode don't count.
But yeah, so
it doesn't count. Count doesn't
need
count.
to be then... It would need to be Jim?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, 372 versus Jerry Springer, 331. Which is confusing that Jerry Springer has so many if each episode doesn't count.
If he guests on a show as himself, like an interview show, all of those would count.
Right, yes, okay.
So if
he probably has been interviewed a bunch.
If he went on Conan O'Brien or something, they would all count as different ones.
Yeah.
Which he would probably do more frequently on like daily talk shows.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now we know where Jim Carrey's at. Jim Carrey versus Oprah.
She has a network, which surely would up her number, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Oprah.
Jim Carrey, 372. Oprah, 468.
Yeah.
Correct.
So owning your own network will do.
Okay. Oprah versus Dr. Phil.
Well, Oprah made Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil came from the Oprah show, so surely he doesn't have as many as Oprah.
So there'd be like at least an even amount for all Dr. Phil.
Yeah, and then Oprah should always be ahead because she would have had like 100 whatever's before him.
Okay. Oprah, 468. Dr. Phil, 168. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right.
Get out of here, Dr. Phil, and your medical license that many years ago.
Oprah versus Reba McEntire. I don't even know who that is. Reba?
Yeah, Reba McEntire. She's a comedian. Reba McEntire was on a lot of TV shows.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Surely it can't be more than Oprah. I'll stick with Oprah.
Okay. Oprah, 468. Reba, 426.
Ooh,
pretty close.
She will have a lot of like guest comedian stand-up spots for sure.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's really high. Good on you, Reba.
Oprah, 468 versus Mark Wahlberg.
Now, Mark Wahlberg produces a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's surprisingly in just everything.
Yeah. But like beyond what he is even in, he produces a lot of stuff. There was a really great 6-part documentary called McMafia, all about the mafia infiltrating the McDonald's Monopoly thing.
Yeah.
He produced it. Like,
Yeah.
he's not in it, but he produces a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, just for the sake of keeping it interesting, because I've gone Oprah the last few times, I'll go Mark.
Oprah 468, Mark 479.
Yeah.
Yay, just got there. Okay, Mark Wahlberg versus Adam Sandler.
Also produces a lot.
With his
But
friends to make a bunch of money.
Yep, owns Happy Madison Productions. I'll stick with Mark.
Mark Wahlberg 479, Adam Sandler 596.
Holy moly!
He's up there. He's up there.
He is up there. 596.
Adam Sandler versus Danny DeVito.
Oh, Danny DeVito produces and directs and writes a lot, so he should be a Now that I'm thinking about it, Adam Sandler writes a lot. That's probably what got him over.
Oh, he gets extra credits on everything.
Yeah. Let's go DeVito.
Adam Sandler 596, Danny DeVito 587.
Oh,
still
so
Adam
close.
Sandler, but very close, very close. Okay, Adam Sandler versus Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, he owns Playtone Productions, so they produce a lot. I don't think it'll be more than Adam though.
Adam Sandler 596, Tom Hanks 644.
Holy moly!
Old Tom Hanks, he's up there.
Yeah, wow. I did not realize Playtone produced so much.
Yeah. Tom Hanks versus Dolly Parton.
Dolly's very prolific. Music used in a lot of things. She is a producer on stuff. As much as Tom? I was very impressed by Tom's number. But do you ever underestimate Dolly? The answer is yes right now. I lock in Tom.
You should have never underestimated Dolly Campbell. Because get this. Tom Hanks, 644. Dolly Parton, 1,481.
Wow. Hallie, I really wish we had some insight into what those credits are.
Yeah. Well, I imagine it is, like you said, she probably produces and writes on her songs and then doesn't. So would it be like, I don't know, 3 credits per song or something, to begin with?
Yeah.
Plus whenever they get used in other stuff, I don't know.
And like TV appearances and stuff throughout the 60s and 70s. And 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure she was on a lot of late night shows in like the 70s and 80s that we weren't accounting for. That like Tom started in the 80s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
There's just one more, Cambo.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton versus Steven Spielberg.
I knew it was going to end with Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg owns DreamWorks Pictures and Amblin Productions. So he produces a lot. He directs a lot. Doesn't really write. Never acts.
Yeah.
Except in Austin Powers 3.
Really?
The thing is, Nelson, I've been burnt once because, like a fool,
you underestimated Dolly.
I underestimated Dolly Parton, and I shan't make that mistake twice. I will lock in. Don't try and sway me, Nelson.
No, I'm not trying to sway you.
I will lock in Dolly Parton. Thank you very much against the man that owns DreamWorks Pictures, and God.
Dolly Parton, 1,481.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, 1,017.
Hey, this is why you never underestimate Dolly.
Never underestimate Dolly. And also, Steven Spielberg's stuff includes several things not yet in production. So he gets even extra credits, potentially.
Yes.
Cool. Hope this was more entertaining than it was to add up all these numbers. I finally see why you guys hate podnapping. Love you guys, Hazza. Yeah, exactly. It's sometimes the podnappings either are really short, but just take like way longer to put together. And and so then it sucks when you happen to have like a bad one that you put a lot of time into.
Yeah.
But this is a good one. I would say this is a good one.
It definitely did fall into my warehouse more than yours, I think.
I wouldn't have put the logic together anywhere near as much as you did.
You're doing like Dolly Parton. She's a singer, not in movies, Michael.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Do you know what? Funnily enough, that one I reckon I would have been the most confident on. For some reason, I just knew that Dolly Parton had done a lot.
Yeah.
Cool. That's podnapping.
And now Nelson.
And probably an episode. That feels about right.
Okay. You will save the letters for next week?
Yeah, let's save letters for next week.
Okay.
We
begged people to write in, and they were
now we're like,
in.
we don't need you anymore. It's because we started at 45 minutes through a track, and the timing is getting very confusing.
Now, so we're over an hour 30.
Oh,
Jesus.
But if you would like to write in, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast @gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can also reach us on our subreddit or our Discord server. And write in, you shitheads.
We promise we'll read them next week. If you write it.
We've been too kind, I've decided. I'm starting with shitheads, and that is a tame kind of insult. I will get worse. Okay?
I'm going to say as well, leave a review if, because the likelihood of this is low, you remember the movie Phenomenon with John Travolta.
Okay.
Leave a review, 5 stars, but review the movie Phenomenon.
Right. Well, I guess we won't be getting any new reviews.
We won't be getting any reviews. Or Face Off. Either of those, I will accept. They're both 90s movies with John Travolta.
Or the Titanic.
Or Titanic.
But don't review Titanic. Review Face Off, even if you haven't seen it.
What do you think it's about with the title Face Off?
Yeah.
Face/off.
Anywho, that's it. So thanks for listening, and we will read you later.
Cool. You're almost uploaded.